OP City has officially become a slaughter zone, with undead forces tearing through the defenses, and survivors are panicking as the realization hits that Bai Yi is behind this massive assault, while Zichuan, the president of the Desolate Ghost Guild, can barely process the sheer gap in their power, witnessing the city defenses crumble under the relentless tide of spectral monsters, leaving him to marvel at the impossible scale of destruction one necromancer can unleash. As Bai Yi commands his legion forward while drawing even more power from the abyss, fueled by a grim determination to grow stronger in this new life, reflecting on how he went from having only 1 point of HP left to standing at the top, back when he was still struggling on Blue Star just a few short months ago, where he was trapped in a hospital bed, helpless as Lin Ruyan unplugged his life support, leaving him conscious but unable to move as she coldly declared herself his fiancée. While claiming it was for his own good to let him die, and revealing her true colors as she watched him fade away, even though Sumu Bai was the #1 player in the world before his life-altering accident, until the door suddenly kicked open to reveal a shocking intruder, and Zhao Su walked in, confirming his own twisted involvement in this betrayal, revealing his plan to eliminate Sumu Bai so he and Lin Ruyan could claim the massive family inheritance. Showing their complete lack of remorse for the man they were murdering for cold hard cash, which makes Sumu Bai's internal rage boil as he watches them from his paralyzed state, and he realizes that even the King of Heaven could not save them from his coming vengeance. Lin Ruyan and Zhao Su dismiss the dying Sumu Bai, deciding to leave the room for their own twisted celebration, while Sumu Bai burns with internal hatred, desperately struggling to regain control of his paralyzed body. And his heart monitor flatlines as reality begins to warp around his broken form, with his hands trembling in a final defiant reach against the inevitable, because a mysterious digital consciousness begins to overwrite his dying perception of the world, while across the globe massive portals tear through the sky, announcing that Blue Star has been forcibly recruited into the Myriad Worlds game, and a global countdown forces every citizen to prepare for a total societal reset. With the public buzzing about the game's potential to bridge the gap between rich and poor, although the reality of the situation is far more lethal than the crowd realizes, and in the hospital, Lin Ruyan and Zhao Su cruelly joke that Sumu Bai will never survive this transition because the universal system finally hits zero, initiating the mass transmigration, and Sumu Bai finds his consciousness pulled into a new, mysterious vessel, where he vows that this second chance is his path to salvation and ultimate revenge, as the intense energy of the transmission consumes his physical form, while the rest of humanity panics and scatters in terror at the world-shaking phenomenon, and Sumu Bai awakens alone on a floating ruin known as the Descendants' Temple, where he discovers to his absolute astonishment that he can finally stand on his own 2 feet. And the game system confirms his new identity as a descendant, marking the start of his true ascent. Bai triggers the talent awakening sequence, setting his sights on a new path, and the system warns that every player across the starry sky hall must now roll for their starting grade, where the difference between an F-grade fodder and an S-grade powerhouse is life or death. Then the interface flashes gold as Bai Yi pulls a forbidden S-grade talent called Promotion, which grants him the god-tier ability to upgrade items or traits using lifespens or rare resources, but the system immediately demands he pick a starting class to finalize his build, and he debates between a standard warrior or the dark arts of a necromancer, yet the game abruptly rejects his stats, locking him out of every category except one, so he is forced into the necromancer class whether he likes it or not. And he barely has a second to process the choice before the system locks it in. Despite his surprise, he realizes the class might actually have some hidden potential, until he checks his character sheet and discovers he is sitting at a pathetic 1 hit point. So he realizes that with a 1-year lifespan and 0 durability, he is basically a walking corpse, but refusing to go down without a fight. He decides to bet everything on his new talent, and he drags the catastrophe trait into his class menu, hoping for a miracle upgrade, where he burns his entire 100,000-year lifespan reserve to force a class evolution. Then he hits the confirm button, watching his stats shift in real time as the system evolves him into the Hidden Death Sovereign class, granting him massive attribute boosts and exclusive legendary gear. And with the game start countdown hitting 10 seconds, he realizes he has no time left to test his new powers, so he prepares to enter the game, ready to hunt down Lin Ruyan and Zhao Su for their past betrayal. The game countdown hits 0, reminding everyone that dying outside the novice village means losing 10 years of life. So players from Blue Star start flooding into the starting zone, panicking about the brutal reality of the world, while Bai Yi enters the Shenlong Empire village, keeping his new Death Sovereign powers hidden from the crowd, and he ignores the beggars and low-level recruits calling for a party, needing to test his skills in isolation. First, he checks his starter spell, Summon Little Skeleton, which creates a basic undead minion to fight for him. Then he scans the second skill, Soul Fire, a ranged magic attack that burns enemies over 5 seconds, noting that having a dedicated summon and an attack spell right out of the gate is a solid foundation. He discovers Lifelink, and a rank skill that connects his HP to his undead, effectively making him impossible to one-shot. Meanwhile, his Summon Amplify passive halves his cooldowns and drastically boosts his summon capacity, which leaves Bai Yi grinning, realizing his toolkit is already way ahead of every other level 1 player. Spots a glowing tome appearing from thin air, drifting right toward his open hand, discovering the Book of Death, a class-exclusive item that grows with his level and unlocks legendary abilities, though the grimoire shows no stats yet. He decides to ignore it for now and focus on his summons, calling forth his first minion. He's surprised to see two skeletons manifest instead of just one, realizing his Cataclysm trait triggered, doubling all skill effects and making his army twice as lethal. He watches the two glowing skeletons emerge, ready to prove their worth despite their low base level. Then a random player approaches him, trying to recruit Bai Yi into a party based on his summoner status, so he turns the guy down flat, preferring to keep his secrets and solo grind the early zones, only for the player to mock him for struggling against a basic walking chicken, and Bai Yi laughs it off as his skeletons start clearing the path, showing that his build is already leagues above the competition. The random player gives up on the walking chicken, and the surrounding party members watch with envy as Bai Yi commands his skeletons. Dismissing their petty jealousy, Bai Yi tells them to worry about their own grind instead. He pushes deeper into the forest, leaving the other players behind in his dust, moving through the brush. His skeletons scan for any signs of stronger threats. A red-eyed rabbit lunges out, forcing Bai Yi to stay sharp against the level 2 beast. The skeletons intercept the attack, clashing steel against the rabbit's speed. Seeing how they handle the pressure, Bai Yi decides to stop holding back his full army. His summons unleash a flurry of strikes, dismantling the rabbit before it can recover. Securing the kill, he notes the experience bonus, already eyeing the next level threshold. His character interface confirms the lifelink efficiency, showing how his health bar remains protected. Deciding 4 summons is enough to avoid unwanted attention, he maintains his current pace. Other players in the distance whisper about his summon capacity, unaware of his true class. Leveling up mid-fight, Bai Yi allocates his new attribute points into agility and spirit. Realizing the potential for growth, he decides to test if his skills can be promoted. The system confirms the upgrades, evolving his skills into significantly more powerful versions. Reviewing the boosted stats, he realizes his life share passive now offers nearly infinite survivability. Now confident in his dominance, he stops hiding and prepares to flood the zone. He checks his gear but decides his current setup is sufficient for this stage. Then the Book of Death evolves into the Death Codex, unlocking even higher potential for his future. Even with a 15-point spell boost, Bai Yi decides to hold off until level 10. But then he spots a pack of claw cat demons and decides to charge. Summoning his entire undead legion, he prepares to overwhelm the forest with sheer numbers. The Death Muster skill cooldown drops by 75%, letting him spawn skeletons every 2 seconds. Experience points flood in as his army shreds the demons, triggering massive cross-level bonuses. Hitting level 2, Bai Yi dumps 15 new attribute points into his core stats. He signals his skeleton army to keep pushing, reveling in the insane leveling speed. Reaching the entrance to the Mist Forest an hour later, he surveys the swirling portal, ignoring the system prompt warning about the danger of soloing. He confirms his entry. The interface offers difficulty settings ranging from normal all the way up to hell. Choosing hell mode without a second thought, he steps directly into the distorted vortex. The portal swallows him whole, loading the dangerous dungeon environment into his view. Dense mist immediately blankets the area, obscuring the path but not bothering his summoned troops. Ordering his skeletons to clear a path, he watches them cut through the thick fog, keeping his 100-meter control range active. He makes sure no units wander off in the haze. A level 8 mist-trained elite emerges from the shadows, displaying its high physical defense. Laughing at the challenge, Bai Yi spots the elite and prepares for a quick takedown. The skeletons swarm the treant, instantly locking it down with an entangle skill. Despite the elite monster landing a heavy blow on his minions, he remains completely unfazed. He orders a concentrated fire attack, confident that his overwhelming numbers will finish the job. The elite mist treant falls, granting Bai Yi a massive experience boost and a level gap bonus. Sensing a new threat nearby, he turns just as a mist tree boa strikes from the darkness. Dodging the ambush with ease, Bai Yi identifies the level 8 snake and prepares his counterattack. His summons unleash a volley of burning magic, forcing the snake to take immediate damage, unrelenting in their assault. The skeletons hack away at the serpent until its health bar vanishes. Another elite drops, and the system confirms his experience gains are skyrocketing. Noting that his own spirit attribute far outclasses these minor spells, he remains focused on the grind. The defeated snake leaves behind a leather belt, which he casually tosses into his inventory. Finding the item quality lacking, he decides it is only good for selling as scrap later, signaling his undead legion to move out. He plunges deeper into the dense forest, harvesting monsters along the way. He pushes his army to maintain a relentless pace. Waves of magical energy erupt from his staff as he clears groups of enemies. Watching his skeletons dismantle everything in their path, he keeps his eyes on the leveling progress. A system notification confirms he finally reached level 5, rewarding him with fresh attribute points. Grinning at the successful level up, Bai feels his power growing with every kill, looting the fallen elites. He gathers a pile of new gear and skill books to bolster his arsenal. Inspecting his new wooden magic wand, he finds the stats underwhelming but potentially profitable. Noticing his Tome of Death also leveled up, he investigates the mysterious book's new potential. Reading the updated stats, he realizes his undead summons now deal double damage to creatures in this dungeon. Fully prepared to face the boss, he commands his army to finish the remaining mobs before advancing. Bai Yi marches toward the boss lair, eager to test his army's true capabilities. The Mist Tree Boa Guard appears with 2 elite protectors, setting the stage for a brutal fight. Inspecting the boss's massive 80,000 HP pool and lethal skill set, he weighs the odds. Despite the overwhelming stats of the enemies, Bai Yi decides to commit to an immediate offensive, ordering his skeletons to charge. He watches them swarm the boss and its 2 guards. Combat erupts as the undead legion clashes with the massive serpentine beasts in the clearing. One of his skeletons gets instantly wiped out by the boss, forcing Bai Yi to rethink his approach. Realizing his summons have the raw power to compensate for the boss's defense, he maintains his pressure, commanding the remaining skeletons to hack away at the elite guards. He focuses on thinning the herd. Massive damage numbers pop up as the elite guards fall, netting Bai Yi a huge experience bonus. With the guards cleared, Bai Yi prepares a fresh magical assault to soften up the main boss. Blast of energy connects with the mist tree boa, forcing the boss to recoil in pain. The beast lunges back with a deafening roar. Clearly enraged by the relentless undead onslaught, seeing his own attack stats fall short of expectations, Bai Yi feels a flicker of frustration. The boss goes on the offensive, weaving through the skeleton swarm to retaliate against the Legion. Terror takes hold as the massive serpent starts picking off Bai Yi's soldiers one by one. Watching his army get devoured and dismantled, Bai Yi knows he needs to change tactics fast. The boss continues its rampage, crushing the undead units with savage efficiency. Sensing a powerful ability charging up, Bai Yi braces for whatever the beast is about to unleash. A toxic cloud of poison erupts from the boss, threatening to wipe out the remaining frontline. The toxic cloud hits, but Bai Yi remains unfazed by the corrosive damage. Because his life-sharing passive absorbs the hit, effectively laughing off the boss's desperate attempt, turning the tables, he charges forward with a crackling orb of energy in his hand, launching a relentless volley of spells that tears through the Mist Tree Boa King's defenses. The boss finally collapses, confirming a massive experience haul in the first solo kill of the grade. System notifications flood the screen, announcing White Knight as the first player to solo a silver grade boss. Across the server, other players react in disbelief, questioning how anyone could pull off such an impossible feat. Veterans of the Myriad Worlds game struggle to process the news, feeling their own progress pale in comparison. Top-tier players like Maple Leaf Xiaoxiao take note of the shift in the power hierarchy. As they continue their own grinding, the gap between them and this mysterious player becomes painfully obvious. The consensus among the elite is clear. This White Knight is a force that cannot be ignored. Guild leaders speculate that an S-rank talent might not be enough. Hinting at an SS-rank awakening, Wealthy World and her party discuss the possibility of recruiting this powerhouse into their ranks. Confident in her charm, she decides that an invitation is the only logical next step. Notifications bombard White Knight. As waves of hopeful friend requests flood his interface, annoyed by the sudden surge of attention, he dismisses them all without a second thought. Shifting focus back to his loot, he examines the life soul stones dropped by the boss. Realizing these stones can extend his actual lifespan, he immediately initiates a promotion for the items. The system confirms an upgrade to intermediate stones, significantly increasing his potential longevity with every absorption. Satisfied with his gains, he turns his attention to the dropped skill books and equipment to see what else he scored. The venomous ring catches his eye, and he decides to dump some gold into promoting it. Stats jump across the board with a solid poison damage proc, making it a decent pickup for his kit. Looking at his current undead summons, he realizes they just are not cutting it for his current level. The system presents him with a choice to promote or sublimate his basic summon skeleton skill. Choosing to sublimate, he burns 5 gold coins without hesitation to push his army to the next level. The transformation finishes and a powerful skeleton archer emerges. Proving the gold investment was totally worth it. He calls out for more, eager to see exactly how much stronger his new minions have become. The system displays the beefed-up stats for his archer and warrior units, confirming a massive power spike. Satisfied with his new Scourge army, he orders them to start scouting the area for targets. They move out into the forest, leaving him to follow behind as they track down potential threats. A group of level 8 elite goblins appears, and he immediately commands his ranged units to focus fire. Precision arrows tear through the mob, showing off the lethal efficiency of his upgraded skeletal squad. Experience points roll in for every kill, and he notes that his farming speed is finally hitting his standards. Back in the city, players are scrambling to form parties and recruit healers for upcoming high-level content. One arrogant player tries to recruit people for his own guild, but he gets laughed at by the crowd, flipping the script. The guy reveals his S-rank-born leader talent, instantly turning the skeptical mob into desperate fans. The recruitment line explodes as everyone fights to get into his group, desperate for those sweet guild bonuses. His own interface pings with a notification, cutting through the noise of the city's chaotic social scene. A server-wide pinned message from Wealthy World pops up, and the entire plaza stops to gossip about his insane wealth. He reads the request from the top-tier guild and decides it is finally time to see what they want. Wealthy World opens the chat with a massive offer of 100 gold coins just for signing a contract. Bai immediately questions her intentions and asks why he should even trust such a wealthy stranger. She counters by revealing her exclusive SSS rank talent, God of Wealth, to prove she has money to burn. The system window details her broken ability to generate gold coins and prevent item loss upon death. Watching the display, Bai notes that while the talent is insane, teaming up early brings unwanted exposure. He sends a firm rejection, telling her he prefers to stick to his own leveling path for now. Wealthy World is clearly ticked off by his blunt refusal to join her powerful team. She vents to her subordinates about the rejection, though they worry about their slow grinding speed without top-tier gear. The mood shifts when Bai pings her back and the group stops to see what he wants. He proposes a trade for his unused equipment instead of joining, and she instantly latches onto the deal. Wealthy World agrees to buy everything he has, promising to pay whatever price he demands for the gear. She gloats to her party about getting their hands on some high-end equipment to boost their performance. A level 5 wild boar leader boss spawns right in front of them. Catching the entire group off guard, Wealthy World questions if Maple Leaf can solo the boss. and he confidently tells her it is no problem. She orders the party to hand over their recovery potions and clear out so he can take the kill. Maple Leaf steps forward with his staff as the rest of the guild clears the immediate area. He initiates the engagement by rushing the boar leader with a sharp magical strike. The boss takes a massive chunk of damage, losing nearly 1,000 health points in a single hit. Maple Leaf keeps the pressure on, dancing around the monster's wild swings while landing clean follow-up attacks. He continues to dominate the exchange, proving his strength as the boss struggles to even land a blow. Maple Leaf mocks the boss for its lack of speed. While Wealthy World watches on, convinced his solo-killing strategy is foolproof, but back in the forest, Bai just finished off a goblin leader, leveling up to 6 in the process. He starts sorting through the mountain of loot dropped by the kills, checking out a mist cloak that lowers aggro even if he hates how it looks, and a gold-tier leader's emblem that boosts his stats whenever he lands a crit. So he equips the gear and starts summoning his undead squad to follow him. Meanwhile, back at the boar fight, the boss suddenly loses a massive chunk of health, and a furious, enraged Goblin King crashes onto the scene, demanding to know who invaded his territory. The system locks the dungeon exit, triggered by the hidden plot of the Goblin King. Bai steps out from the shadows, ready to see how the boss handles his forces. The Berserk Goblin King charges in, ready to smash the undead army into pieces. Bai laughs at the challenge, noting the 2-minute time limit to burn through the boss's massive HP pool. He signals his minions to engage, mocking the king for thinking his high health makes him untouchable. The skeleton army swarms the target, landing heavy, consecutive hits that shred the boss's health bar. The king lashes out in disgust, trying to clear the rotting bones away with a violent strike. Damage numbers fly as the boss realizes this is not a standard level 5 encounter. Bai channels his own power, moving in to finish the job himself, and he delivers a crushing blow that stops the king dead in its tracks, while the skeleton archer rains down critical arrows to end the boss's reign for good. Bai urges his skeletons to focus fire on the Goblin King. The boss screams for his warriors to shatter the undead bones, and the system confirms the king has entered a buffed madness state. A horde of elite goblin reinforcements charges the field. Bai realizes the situation is turning chaotic. Goblin reinforcements swarm the necromancer's position. The Goblin King cries out in frustration, ordering his warriors to crush the intruders with a massive leap. The impact shakes the ground near Bai, forcing the necromancer to dodge while noting the boss's shared health pool. He commands his minions to clear the small fry first. Skeleton warriors intercept the incoming goblin tide. Bai signals the archers to unleash a volley. Arrows pierce the boss, interrupting his momentum. The king roars as his health drops, his defense crumbling under the berserk debuff. Bai scoffs at the boss's desperate threats. Mana gathers in his palm as he prepares a finisher, ignoring the minor threats to focus on the main objective. A massive barrage of attacks shreds the goblin health pool, and the king finally crashes to the ground, marking the end of the dungeon boss. The system announces White Knight's level up and the first kill rewards for the Goblin King, but he finds no loot drops on the corpse, wondering if he missed a hidden quest trigger. Meanwhile, other players in the village gossip about White Knight's unexpected success, their envy turning into competitive talk about hunting their own bosses to catch up. A second global announcement rings out to confirm White Knight's achievement, catching the attention of a top-tier guild player who questions if the guy has an SSS-ranked talent. Elsewhere, a confident player and his partner dismiss the news, convinced that their own progress is steady enough to eventually overtake him. They gear up to head for the first dungeon, oblivious to the changing world state, because Bai's speed run has just pushed the dungeon difficulty up to disaster grade. Blue energy surges around his own summoned skeleton, forcing Bai to investigate the anomaly. He watches as the spirit of a fallen goblin is forcibly pulled into his skeleton, realizing with sudden clarity that his minion is undergoing a forced evolution. A massive pillar of spectral light erupts from the ground, revealing the skeleton King Regi, an undead powerhouse that should not exist in a novice area. The undead monarch gloats about his dark resurrection as he takes the field. Bai commands his forces forward to engage this unexpected nightmare. As the skeleton king draws his blade, the sheer pressure of his aura warps the air, leaving Bai to curse the system for dropping a high-level boss on his head, while the boss unleashes a devastating wave of blue lightning to start the slaughter. His summoned army gains a massive stat boost from the aura of the dead, yet the skeleton King Regi is already outpacing them with terrifying combat power. Bai realizes the boss is way above their level, forcing him to rethink his strategy. The system warns that the novice village protection is disabled, and he's bleeding precious lifespan. Devastating lightning strikes hammer his defenses, draining his health bar in massive chunks, getting blasted back by the sheer force of the impact. Bai struggles to regain his footing. He desperately orders his minions to focus fire on the boss. Realizing his current mana limit for summoning 20 skeletons will not be enough to hold the line, he decides to gamble everything on an emergency skill upgrade, crunching down the life soul stones. He pours his remaining resources into the evolution. The system confirms his cataclysm promotion and offers him 3 distinct branches for his soldiers. Choosing the skeleton warrior path, he watches as his C-rank skill receives a massive power injection. Empowered by the new stats, he floods the battlefield with fresh reinforcements. The skeleton warrior now boasts heavy strike capabilities and a critical health boost, clashing blades with the boss. His soldiers start landing significant damage. The tide of battle shifts as his undead army swarms the monarch. Laughing at the chaos, he continues to pump out more summons to maintain the pressure. The skeleton King Regi enters a berserk state, trading his defense for an explosive attack boost. Seeing the boss lower his guard, Bai capitalizes on the opening to coordinate a final strike. the Skeleton King Reggie begins to falter under the relentless assault of the Undead Legion. The Skeleton King Reggie collapses and the system confirms Bai Yi has reached level 4. Experience points flood in to push him to level 9, while he collects a massive haul of soul stones and gold. Achieving the first clear of the Hell level dungeon nets him an attribute gem and even more lifespan. Confusion sets in as the notification labels his feat as Hell level when he knows it was actually Disaster level. Outside the Mist Forest, massive crowds of players gather near the entrance to recruit for their guilds. A high-ranking player invites others to join his group for the run. Onlookers realize the group is actually Wealthy World, decked out in premium gear. The player leading the charge is identified as the infamous Wealthy World. A woman in ornate, expensive-looking equipment joins the gathering, sparking whispers about her immense wealth. The two groups exchange wary pleasantries, acknowledging each other's reputations within the zone. Wealthy World proposes a high-stakes wager to settle who clears the dungeon first. The wealthy woman accepts the challenge, eager to see what the guild master has in mind. He sets the stakes, demanding that her group submit to his hegemony if he clears the dungeon first. She counters with her own conditions, proposing that his guild join her forces if they succeed. Instead, holding up 3 fingers, she lays out her specific demands for the potential winner. Laughter erupts from the group as they celebrate the upcoming contest. Suddenly, a global system announcement cuts through the air, declaring White Knight has cleared the Dark Gold boss. Shock ripples through the crowd as they realize the bet is already moot. Another notification confirms White Knight has solo cleared the dungeon at disaster level. Frustration and disbelief overwhelm the guild leaders as they watch their grand plan crumble into nothingness. The guild leader calls off the advance, deciding to wait while the chaos unfolds elsewhere. Meanwhile, a lone warrior struggles against a massive goblin king in a hell-level raid. His blade strikes deep, but the boss barely flinches under the relentless assault. The fighter wonders what kind of freakish talent White Knight possesses to clear this so easily. Back at the gathering, the name White Knight triggers a wave of unsettling recognition. A teammate teases the woman about her past, asking if the name brings up old memories. She admits the name feels eerily familiar, reminding her of a ghost from her gaming days. Her voice drops as she recalls a specific player who used that exact handle. She identifies him as Sumu Bai, a name that carries a heavy, complicated history. The guild master dismisses the possibility, insisting that Guy is long dead. He suggests she just use her charms to win the kid over if they ever cross paths. A sharp, confident smile crosses her face as she agrees to handle it. Deep in the dungeon, Bai claims his rewards for the disaster level solo clear. Opening his inventory, he equips the new S-rank skill Death Siphon Feedback. Dark energy surges through his skeletal minion as the skill activates. Mana consumption is no longer a concern since he can now recycle energy indefinitely. He turns his attention toward the fallen Skeleton King, testing the new power. The system confirms he successfully siphoned hundreds of units of energy from the boss. Energy levels spike as he realizes the undead body provides a much richer harvest. A legendary-grade robe drops from the remains, and he prepares to appraise his haul. Bai Yi decides the rest of this loot belongs in Wealthy World's hands, mocking the defeated Skeleton King for dropping such a pathetic amount of gear. Then a massive explosion of items fills the air as the boss finally yields its full inventory: gold, dark-grade armor, and a mountain of skill books rain down from the system notification. He notices the game allows him to fuse his basic summon skills into something far more advanced. So he triggers the fusion and gains Summon Advanced Skeleton, a massive upgrade to his legion. The system offers a tiered promotion path and he immediately burns his resources to reach a rank. A strange orb of pure mana catches his eye, radiating power that feels entirely otherworldly. The system identifies the artifact as Hale's legacy, presenting a high-risk quest that could change everything. He commits to the challenge, smashing his hand into the interface to accept the legendary trial. Energy floods the chamber as the system confirms the start of the quest, Dylan's Sorrow. He reviews the stats of his new gear, grinning at the massive spell crit bonus he just unlocked. The artifact pulses with ancient power, and he realizes this harvest was worth every bit of the fight. Gear packed and quest accepted. He turns his back on the dungeon to find Wealthy World guild members waiting outside. Discuss the sudden, massive spike in the dungeon's energy. They spot Bai Yi emerging from the portal, the pressure radiating from him silencing the entire crowd. He marches toward them with one goal in mind. Wondering if his payout is finally ready, the girl waiting for him tries to suggest moving to a private location, but he cuts her off, insisting they handle the business right here in the open. He demands his cut of the deal. The onlookers watch in awe, realizing they are witnessing the rise of a truly terrifying player. Bai casually brushes off the girl's concerns about his massive haul, insisting he can handle every single item. The guild members scramble toward the loot pile, eyes widening as they realize the sheer volume of high-tier gear he's just dumped. Disbelief ripples through the group as they confirm the rare skill books and items are all legitimate. The girl tosses a heavy bag of coins to Bai Yi, confirming the initial payment for his massive collection. He catches the gold. Satisfied that the first part of their massive transaction is finally settling, tension spikes when he pushes for more, hinting that the real treasures were still buried in the pile. She pulls out a literal armory of gold-grade equipment and C-rank skill books, causing the nearby onlookers to lose their minds. Admitting they've hit a temporary liquidity wall, she proposes a system-backed trade contract to cover the outstanding balance. He scans the legendary Resurrection skill book, naming a steep price of 500 gold coins for that single item. The system UI displays the insane stats of the skill, and the nearby priest-class player realizes exactly what they are looking at. A firm handshake seals the deal between Bai Yi and the guild rep, Locking in the debt for tomorrow, he muses on the source of her confidence, knowing her god of wealth talent is likely fueling this massive gamble. The realization hits him that her certainty comes from the passive gold-generating effects of her unique class. She pivots to a new proposal, asking if he wants to take on the nightmare-level Mist Forest. His eyes sharpen as he counters with a demand for the life soul stones currently in her possession. She agrees to his high-stakes condition instantly, securing his services for the dangerous run. The system logs his rapid-fire grind as he clears waves of bison and wolves. Stacking experience points with every kill, he watches his level climb, knowing the grind is the only way to keep his edge sharp. A notification confirms his level up, and he immediately funnels his hard-earned points into his attributes to stay ahead. Frustrated that the appraiser has vanished into the grasslands, he moves on. Already hunting for his next big objective. The system alerts Bai Yi that his skeleton champion has been destroyed. He realizes the damage output is massive enough to one-shot his summon. A mysterious figure emerges from the trees to mock his pile of bones. The appraiser Huajian appears with stats that are completely hidden from his view. Huajian demands compensation for being interrupted during his artistic sketching session. Bai Yi offers money, but the eccentric artist clearly does not care about gold. Instead, the man forces a pathetic-looking painting onto Bai Yi as payment. Receiving the item, Bai Yi can barely hide his disgust at the amateur quality. Huajian suddenly flares with dark energy, forcing the kid to apologize for his lack of taste. The mood shifts instantly as the appraiser decides to do his job for free. He begins the appraisal process, though the cost of the service still stings. Golden light floods the area as the shadow boots are identified and upgraded. Powerful gear pieces like the bone armor and greatsword are revealed in rapid succession. Huajian turns to leave, clearly annoyed by the interruption to his art. Realizing the value of the gear, Bai Yi desperately tries to stop him from walking away. He pulls out an epic-grade item, hoping to squeeze one last appraisal out of the man. The appraiser stops, but admits his own skill level is too low for an epic tier. Shock hits Bai Yi as he realizes he might have hit a hard wall. Huajian explains that his position as a part-time villager limits his actual expertise. Everything changes when the master offers to teach the appraisal skill to the kid directly. Huajian drops the bombshell that tuition will not be cheap, demanding 500 ancient gold coins for his mentorship. He shows off one of the rare tokens to prove exactly what he needs. Bai Yi realizes he has the upgrade materials to mint these coins himself. The system triggers a hidden quest, and with a casual wave, the master vanishes, leaving the kid to scramble for a solution before the mentor slips away. Bai Yi calls him back, revealing a sack overflowing with the required treasure. Complete disbelief washes over Huajian as he stares at the massive haul. The kid wastes no time in pressing his advantage to demand the promised skill. Impressed by the hustle, the master tosses over the skill book for basic appraisal. Another quest hits the log, this time requiring 10,000 coins for a future reward. Bai Yi chuckles to himself, realizing he has managed to hook a goldmine of a teacher. He immediately pushes the system to promote his new skill to the intermediate tier. Golden light bathes the area as he officially levels up his appraisal rank, feeling confident in his new ability. He tests it on a piece of gear, failure slams into him instantly, and he cannot believe his rotten luck with the odds. Attempt after attempt ends in a system error, burning through his patience. He finally throws in the towel, defeated by the stubborn RNG. Just as he hits his limit, a wild treasure chest spawns nearby. The hunt continues as he rushes toward the prize, hoping this one is not a dud. A pack of wolves swarms the area, surrounding the treasure chest Bai Yi just discovered. He locks eyes with the prize, already anticipating the potential loot hidden inside. Calling his undead legion to action, he commands his skeletons to clear the path. Blue flames erupt as the skeleton warriors clash with the wolves, racking up massive damage numbers. The pack leader howls in agony as the relentless assault begins to whittle them down. More wolves charge in from the brush, but the reinforcements are met with cold steel, summoning even more of his skeletal army. He turns the tide of the ambush. Chaotic combat erupts across the clearing, with his summons tearing through the pack. The wolves stand no chance against the overwhelming force. Taking heavy hits with every strike, he watches as the last of the guardians fall beneath his skeleton's blades. System notifications flood his screen as he earns massive experience and gold for the clear. Loot pops up, including an agility gem and skill books, but he has his eyes on a bigger goal. Considering the potential of the treasure chest, he decides to test his luck with a promotion. The interface flashes as he successfully upgrades the chest to a higher rarity tier. Eager to see the payoff, he reaches out to crack open the upgraded gold rank chest. Blinding light erupts as a deadwood staff and a new treasure map materialize. Holding the map, he sees it promises a path leading to an even greater gold rank treasure. New prompt informs him that reaching level 10 means he must leave the novice village. Deciding to prioritize the village chief, he prepares to promote the new map as well. The transition to the next stage of his journey begins, but the road ahead looks treacherous. A server-wide broadcast announces the Grand Ambitions Guild has conquered the Mist Forest Nightmare mode, and the guild leader rallies his crew to push for even greater rewards immediately. But a nearby group realizes they have been beaten to the punch, while the guild members shrug off their disbelief with arrogant claims of simple good luck. A rival player curses Bai Yi for hoarding all the best gear and skills for himself. His seething jealousy boils over into a public vow to make Bai Yi pay for his dominance. Meanwhile, the Grand Ambitions Guild takes a break as another global notification shatters the atmosphere. The system confirms Bai Yi is the first player to hit level 10 in the entire region, and the new leaderboard reveals he is leagues ahead of every other guild on the server. Bai Yi ignores the chatter and heads straight to the village chief to finalize his departure. Onlookers can only watch in awe, struggling to comprehend his insane leveling speed compared to their own. The guild leader realizes that securing a connection with someone like Bai Yi is their only path forward. She orders her subordinates to stand down while she personally handles the next interaction, catching up to Bai Yi in the village square. She approaches him with a strategic offer, handing over the basic soul stones from their recent clear. She hopes to cement their ongoing trade. Bai Yi accepts the payment, confirming their contract for future high-tier loot is officially fulfilled. She watches him walk away, satisfied that their professional relationship is finally on solid ground. He calls back to keep the lines open once he arrives in the main city. The village streets remain busy as he turns his back on the novice starting zone, and finally he reaches the village chief's quarters to trigger his long-awaited exit. The village chief is genuinely shocked that Bai Yi managed to hit level 10 so fast. Bai Yi wastes no time declaring he is officially ready to leave the novice zone, and the old man leads him toward the exit, warning that the world is far more dangerous. They arrive at the portal leading straight to East Sea City. The most prosperous coastal hub in the Empire. Maps show this city as a central power node. Serving as the gateway to the real game, Bai Yi activates the transfer, promising to repay the chief for his guidance once he grows stronger. The village chief watches him depart with a heavy sigh, clearly fearing for the future of the land. Dark omens haunt the village as the chaotic era of the divine forbidden land begins to unfold. Elsewhere, observers spot a familiar figure heading toward the same destination. Fujia Tangxia wonders if this player is actually Su Mubai, but the girl beside him dismisses the concern entirely. She boasts that if he is as strong as the rumors suggest, she can easily manipulate him once they meet. Bai Yi arrives in East Sea City, immediately struck by how insanely realistic the urban landscape feels. He steps out of the portal, only to find his death codex has reached level 10. Notification confirms the milestone, unlocking a massive boost to his personal power. The grimoire glows with forbidden energy as it reveals its new passive and active scaling stats. Bai Yi realizes he can now harvest soul points and even learn skills directly from his defeated victims. A prompt flickers in his mind, and he immediately unlocks the devastating death gaze. The sheer intensity of the skill hits him, forcing him to confront the overwhelming sensation of mortality. He realizes the ability forces enemies to suffer continuous soul damage and massive stat debuffs. Just as he starts testing his newfound reach, a mysterious intruder interrupts his solitude with a grim warning. Sidu Jai introduces himself as an elder of Shenlong Hall, revealing he can instantly see through Bai Yi's level. The elder recognizes Bai Yi's aura as a rare sovereign-class profession, warning him that it carries a heavy burden. Bai Yi is stunned that his hidden class was exposed so easily by the old man. Sidu Jai offers him a high-stakes test involving the Land of the Forgotten, promising valuable knowledge if he succeeds. A system alert triggers an epic-grade quest, and Bai Yi realizes he has stumbled into a massive mission. The system immediately starts a 5-minute countdown to teleportation, leaving him zero time to prep his gear. Panic sets in as he rushes to find the array, desperately hoping he can handle the sudden shift. He arrives in the desolate Land of the Forgotten, only to learn the system demands a full clear within 72 hours. Knowing he needs protection, Bai Yi summons his undead forces to secure the perimeter. The skeleton mages emerge with a massive boost to their fireball damage, significantly increasing his overall combat output. A sudden roar echoes across the wasteland as a horde of enemies surges toward him. These level 20 skeletons are far more numerous than expected, swarming the area with relentless aggression. Bai Yi commands his army to hold the line, launching an immediate counteroffensive against the incoming wave. The experience points skyrocket as his summons tear through the opposition. Proving the efficiency of this grinding spot, deciding to test his new ability, he targets a cluster of enemies with the lethal death gaze. A wave of pure soul destruction erupts from him, instantly shredding the health bars of everything in his path. Watching the carnage, he realizes these monsters actually possess harvestable souls. He prepares to drain them to replenish his mana, eager to maximize his gains. Frustration hits when he checks his death scripture and finds his soul points are still at 0. A mysterious voice rings out from the void, claiming the land is cursed and their souls remain trapped. Road, the spirit guide, clarifies that his soul form is immune to physical damage, and he adds that the curse blocking soul absorption can only be lifted by specific actions. A massive surge of energy erupts in the distance, drawing their immediate attention toward the horizon. They find a terrifying, chain-bound coffin vibrating with ominous power as the nearby skeletons recoil in fear. Bai Yi notices his minions are acting unusually skittish around the object, hinting at a hidden threat. His system identifies it as a soul-locking coffin, instructing him to destroy it to break the curse, commanding his skeleton army to attack. He watches them unleash their full force against the heavy chains. Explosive fireballs slam into the structure, shattering the bindings while the ground shakes from the impact. Liquid begins to drip from the damaged wood, signaling that something is finally breaking free from inside. Rhodes screams in terror as the contents of the coffin begin to emerge, forcing them to retreat. A half-frost lick, a level 20 dark gold boss, tears its way out of the wreckage. This undead abomination bellows that the interruption has ruined his transformation process, threatening to absorb Bai Yi to complete his own evolution. The lick prepares to strike. Refusing to back down, he orders his skeleton squad to engage the boss immediately. Fireballs collide with the boss's defenses, but the lick shrugs off the damage with ease. Realizing the enemy's physical defense is nearly impenetrable, Bai Yi shifts his combat tactics. The lick retaliates by swinging his heavy chains, smashing through the skeleton frontline with brutal efficiency. Blades of dark energy cut through the air, forcing the remaining minions to scramble for cover. The boss mocks their efforts, Confident that his overwhelming power will be more than enough to win, casting a frost shield to negate incoming damage, the Lick prepares to finish this fight once and for all. The half-frost Lick summons his own reinforcements, dragging fresh ghouls onto the battlefield to bolster his ranks. These rotting creatures possess high physical stats, but they carry a stench that is almost unbearable for anyone nearby. Even Bai Yi struggles with the foul odor, needing a quick way to turn the tide against this horde. Activating his Death Gaze skill, he tests the ability's potential to bypass the Lick's defenses. The system confirms his life level is superior, triggering a massive heal that drains the boss's health points. Realizing his unique profession as a Death Sovereign grants him this massive advantage, he presses the attack. The Lick watches his health bar plummet in disbelief, unable to comprehend such a sudden reversal of fortune, ordering his skeleton squad to charge. Bai Yi directs his minions to tear through the boss's undead lackeys. Relentless assault from the skeleton frontline forces the boss back into a desperate defensive position. Damage numbers pile up on the Lick, effectively ending his reign as he cries out one final protest. The boss shatters, rewarding Bai Yi with a massive experience boost and a level up to 12, savoring the quick victory. He clenches his hand while reflecting on how efficiently the fight concluded. Scouring the remains, he recovers a dark gold-grade item, the Cursed Crown Fragment. Holding the shard, he notes the item's potential for constant erosion. Yet it remains a powerful find, despite the boss being stingy with loot. He considers the shard a worthy addition to his growing collection. His companion rushes over, completely hyped by the display of power and eager to find more prey. Mentioning there is another target just ahead, the spirit urges him to keep up the momentum. Listening to the plan, Bai Yi remains focused on the next challenge waiting in the distance. Handing over a skill book, the spirit provides him with a new tool to strengthen his arsenal. Inspecting the manual, he realizes the corpse explosion skill is exactly the upgrade he needs to dominate his next fight. The system confirms the upgrade to Advanced Corpse Explosion, boosting its range and damage output significantly. Bai Yi wastes no time testing the skill, triggering a massive red energy blast on a nearby target. Carnage erupts as the explosion detonates with enough force to wipe out the immediate area. Even Bai Yi is caught off guard by the sheer scale and intensity of the new ability. His spirit companion praises his overwhelming strength, confident that their farming speed will skyrocket from here. Moving deeper into the vast land of the Forgotten, they track down the 7th target. Noting their progress, Bai Yi realizes he has finally hunted down every necessary piece. He activates Corpse Explosion once more, tearing through the defenses of the enemy known as the Forgotten. The Forgotten screams in disbelief as its physical form is utterly consumed by the dark energy. A final item drops from the wreckage, signaling that the collection is now complete. Picking up the last fragment, Bai Yi prepares to combine them into the legendary crown. His companion panics and warns him that synthesizing the cursed relic will lead to his inevitable erosion. Ignoring the warnings, Bai Yi proceeds with the synthesis as a blinding light fills the area. The spirit continues to rant about the impending doom, but Bai Yi remains completely unbothered by the noise. The system confirms the creation of the legendary Cursed Crown and boosts his exploration rate by 50%. Sensing the immediate danger of the relic, the companion begs Bai Yi to discard it before it kills him. Suddenly, a massive shockwave tears through the ground, forcing the entire skeleton squad into a defensive stance. Earth and debris fly as an unknown force slams into their position with terrifying power. The spirit companion stares in pure terror, realizing something far more dangerous has finally arrived. A massive coffin rises from the earth, signaling the awakening of the true Lick beneath the land. The former mayor of Sunset Town, Franklin, begs Bai Yi to end his undead existence, and the system triggers a new hidden quest to take down this level 20 boss, while an aura of dark energy flares around the Frost Lick as his combat stats materialize. Mocking the fact that a mere human survived this long, the boss senses the Cursed Crown's presence, demanding the relic be returned to its rightful owner immediately. But Bai Yi just smirks, wondering why the Lick thinks his own summons would ever turn on him, before equipping the legendary crown himself to skyrocket his own attributes, and calling his Shadow Knights into the fray to intercept the boss's opening advance. Commenting that an epic-grade boss deserves a dark gold-grade opponent for this fight, as his knights clash head-on with the Lick's freezing magic, while Bai Yi unleashes a curse aura to disrupt the boss's control, forcing the enemy to slow down as his forces get pelted with repeated attacks. The Lick curses his misfortune, realizing his own momentum is slipping away, though Bai Yi notes that this legendary gear is a massive step up from his starting equipment. Ignoring the boss's empty threats, he prepares to finalize the encounter. Knowing he has the upper hand, he channels his next ability, and the system confirms a successful Death Gaze that applies a persistent curse, causing the boss to stumble as the debuff begins to rapidly drain his health, leaving the Lick breathless and forced to question the identity of his challenger. But Bai Yi remains coy, refusing to give his name to a dying creature. The Lick screams in frustration, refusing to accept that a human could best him, so he channels his dark energy to summon a final desperate trump card, and a massive vortex tears across the battlefield as bones gather from the earth, swirling into a towering undead construct that demands the human's immediate execution, while the boss commands his new nightmare to emerge and claim its prize. A deafening roar echoes as the creature fully manifests before their eyes. Revealing the undead bone dragon Cacus, a level 20 epic-grade boss with massive stats, Bai Yi watches the beast rise, noting that the dungeon's trial difficulty is reaching its peak. Cacus immediately launches a concentrated beam of blue flame directly toward him, but Bai Yi calls upon his skeleton mage to reinforce the barrier and tank the hit. The Lick laughs in disbelief, unable to grasp how a lowly skeleton could withstand such power. Meanwhile, Bai Yi feeds death energy into his skeleton, boosting its defensive stats by over 400%, and he continues to absorb death energy from the cursed crown to maintain his momentum, looking unfazed. He smirks at the chaos, confident that he has the situation under control. Cacus strikes again, but the exchange only fuels Bai Yi's relentless counteroffensive. The dragon erupts with frost hell, blanketing the area in a freezing, deadly aura. Bai Yi is caught in the crossfire, narrowly maneuvering to keep his footing. The boss cackles at the apparent destruction of his target, convinced his victory is absolute, yet Bai Yi survives the barrage, proving that his life-sharing mechanics are far superior to the Lick's tactics, so the boss realizes his advantage is slipping away as the pressure continues to mount. The Lick unleashes a wave of death and decay, attempting to overwhelm Bai Yi with pure necrotic force. A massive bone prison erupts from the ground, trapping Bai Yi in a lethal cage of jagged spikes. He narrowly weaves through the debris, dodging the bone spikes with precise, calculated movements. Realizing the Lick is foolishly trying to break his life-sharing bond with brute force, Bai Yi decides to recall his unreinforced skeletons, pulling them back into the summoned space to preserve his mana. Cacus lunges forward to intercept the remaining bandits, crushing the ground beneath his massive, spectral frame. The Lick falters, realizing his summon is struggling to maintain control against Bai Yi's defensive pressure. Damage numbers flood the screen as Bai Yi holds his ground, his health pool barely flickering under the strain. Debris rains down as the Lick screams in frustration, declaring victory while his own structure begins to crumble, mocking the boss's arrogance. Bai Yi commands his minions to reinforce him, absorbing every ounce of incoming damage. Cacus disintegrates into nothingness, leaving the Lick staring in absolute disbelief at his own failed gamble. The boss's internal flame flickers and dies, signaling his final, permanent defeat. A system notification confirms the kill, awarding Bai Yi massive experience and a level jump to 19. Rewards flood his inventory, including an epic-grade bone dragon and a mountain of extra skill points. He immediately promotes his advanced life soul stones, securing a massive boost to his personal lifespan. 50 years of life are added to his total, finally ending the constant ticking crisis of his mortality. Across the server, a global announcement broadcasts his solo victory, drawing eyes from every corner of the world. Rival players and factions take note, with powerful figures already plotting to recruit or manipulate the legendary White Knight. A rare dragon bone pendant appears in his inventory, a high-tier relic that allows him to summon a mount. Bai Yi promotes the item, thrilled at the prospect of owning a personal flying dragon for his future travels. Bai Yi inspects the Frost War Horn, a legendary rank relic promising a mount from the undead realm. Summoning energy ripples outward as the artifact tears a hole through reality to manifest its prize. Icy death aura floods the area, forcing Bai Yi to brace against the sudden, freezing pressure. A massive claw emerges from the rift, the creature immediately belittling the human who dared to summon it. The frost giant dragon towers over him, already mocking its new master for looking far too weak to command such power. Holy light suddenly pierces the dragon, causing the beast to recoil in agonizing pain under the unexpected purification. The dragon begs Bai Yi to stop the torture, its arrogance vanishing the moment it realizes who holds the leash. Pledging its loyalty, the creature bows down as the system officially unlocks the mount slot for Bai Yi. A global announcement alerts every player in the region that the mount leaderboard is now live. Checking the interface, Bai Yi discovers his dragon is already ranked first, leaving everyone else in the dust. Raw stats for the Mythicrank mount appear, highlighting its insane health pool and dragon-themed area of effect abilities. Nearby players stare in disbelief at the creature, realizing Bai Yi is playing a totally different game than them. Rival factions try to cope by mocking his wealth, desperate to convince themselves that money does not equal skill. His minion suddenly interrupts the chatter, reporting that it has finally pinpointed the location of the soul casket. Following the spectral lid, Bai Yi moves out, eager to finish off the Lick's last remaining tether. They arrive at a hidden burial site where the casket pulses with a defensive barrier. Reading the system scan, Bai Yi realizes the item has 1 million durability and keeps the Lick anchored to the world. His companion urges him to strike, but Bai Yi just scoffs at the idea of a remnant soul posing any real threat. He crushes the artifact, effectively erasing the Lick's immortality and dooming his soul to eternal destruction. With the quest objective shattered, Bai Yi stands among the ruins, ready to claim the final rewards for Sunset Town. The quest notification confirms Bai Yi has successfully eliminated the boss. Racking up massive soul points and enough experience to hit level 20, he warps back to East Sea City only to find the area completely devoid of other high-level players. Realizing he holds a massive power advantage, Bai Yi decides to test his new mount. Summoning the massive frost giant dragon, he commands the beast to appear. The dragon crashes down into the city square with a ground-shaking impact. Taking to the skies, the creature soars effortlessly over the architecture of East Sea City. Mysterious high-ranking figure watches the beast descend. Noting that Bai Yi has surpassed all expectations, Bai Yi enters the inner sanctum and orders the dragon to shrink to a manageable size. Their host remarks that the room is barely large enough to contain such a powerful entity. Wandering into the opulent chamber, Bai Yi asks the elder to clarify what he means by his profession. The elder explains that his class is not just a standard dominator tier, but something more specialized. System chime grants him the quest reward for completing the trial, yet Bai Yi finds the payout underwhelming. The elder details the hierarchy of classes, revealing that the Death Dominator is a unique hidden class, warning him that such power requires massive amounts of death to facilitate further advancement. The elder reveals a grand prophecy about the Shenlong Empire uniting the divided lands, pointing out that the borders between nations remain closed for now. He hands Bai Yi a sealed letter that must be delivered to a specific individual. The reward for this delivery will be a rare treasure that grants him access to the Forbidden Land. Accepting the contract and the mission, Bai Yi prepares to head toward his next monumental goal. Bai Yi accepts the token from Sidu Jai, granting him free passage throughout East Sea City. Examining the item, Bai Yi realizes it represents ownership of a prime piece of property. He asks the elder if the token truly grants him absolute freedom within the city limits. His eyes glow with a dark intensity as he wonders if that freedom extends to killing. The elder pauses, clearly caught off guard by the bluntness of the question. Bai Yi clarifies that he only intends to dispose of a few specific enemies. Boarding his shadow dragon, Bai Yi departs the sanctum to claim his new prize. Soaring over East Sea City, he surveys the massive capital of the divine dragon empire. The dragon descends before the grand entrance of the private courtyard. Guards cross their spears to block his path, demanding he identify himself. Noticing the official token in Bai Yi's hand, the guard immediately changes his tune, acknowledging him as the new master. The guards stand aside to let him enter. Taking in the scale of the estate, Bai Yi notes the incredible generosity of the city lord. He decides to rebrand the property as White Knight Courtyard. The system confirms the change and updates his status as the courtyard's official master. Walking into the main hall, he finds the residence already fully furnished and ready for use. Bai Yi flops onto a chair, finally ready to focus on some skill progression. He spends 1,000 soul points on a grimoire, watching his hard-earned currency vanish. The system unlocks the SSS rank Death Domain Leap, a high mobility skill that allows instant teleportation. Thrilled by his new tactical advantage, Bai Yi activates the portal to test it out. The teleportation portal flares to life, startling the guards stationed nearby. Bai Yi casually dismisses their concern, explaining he is just testing his new mobility, testing if he can manifest his legions directly through the portal. Spectral energy tears through the fabric of space, summoning his undead warriors instantly, realizing the tactical potential of dropping units anywhere for a small fee. He gathers some capital by converting his assets into raw currency. Wandering the city streets, he casually chats with locals while snacking, collecting payment for his services. He eyes the growing pile of loot, flipping low-level stones for a massive profit. He clears over 200,000 coins, striding toward the prestigious auction house. He prepares to scout for rare goods. Entering the opulent hall, he admires the sheer extravagance of the establishment. A staff member intercepts him, informing him that the second floor is restricted. She explains that access to the VIP floor requires a premium admission ticket. Revealing his city lord's guest token, he watches her attitude shift instantly. The clerk gifts him a VIP card, granting him exclusive access and private teleportation. Questioning the conversion rates, he probes the staff on the value of soul coins versus gold. Discovering that one soul coin holds the power of 10,000 gold, he notes the exchange rate, inquiring if he can auction off his own stock to generate more soul coins. Handing over his collection for appraisal, he watches the clerk get to work. A sudden system notification pings, pulling his attention away from the auction. The group arrives at East Sea City via teleportation, with the elven companion leading the way. Onlookers gawk as a frost giant dragon descends from the sky above the city plaza. Teammates discuss the power of Bai Yi's mount, wondering when they might attain such status. Acknowledging his rapid progression, they thank Bai Yi for the high-tier equipment he provided. The woman approaches Bai Yi to finalize their remaining transaction before they part ways. A sudden gesture stops Bai Yi in his tracks, forcing him to turn back. She reveals the legendary Scroll of Destiny, a gambling item that can shift one's fate. Weighing the odds of a guaranteed win, Bai Yi asks for the scroll's price. She denies his request, claiming the legendary item is not for sale. Proposing a deeper partnership instead, she tries to secure his long-term cooperation. A sudden arrival interrupts them as another player teleports directly into the plaza. Rivals grumble about the competition already reaching the city ahead of them. Noticing the influx of arrivals, Bai Yi realizes he needs to secure the area. He snaps his fingers and summons his skeleton warriors to lock down the plaza. The Undead Legion seals off the exits, catching the surrounding players off guard. Observers recognize the elite summoner behind this sudden blockade as Bai Yi trapped players shout in protest as the confinement debuff lowers their stats by 20%. Bai Yi addresses the crowd, demanding their cooperation if they want to leave the area. Defiance flares among the trapped group as they challenge his authority and aggressive tactics. Before they can act, Bai Yi strikes instantly, proving his lethality and draining their lifespans. Bai Yi dares the crowd to challenge his command over the plaza. A massive skeletal dragon descends as the exit portal flickers with unstable energy. Signaling the start of his true agenda, he gives the order to move. Glowing orbs track his every movement while he threatens any survivors who might flee. Misty Rain and Rising Sun arrive on the scene just in time to spot a familiar face. Identifying the man as Su Mubai, the pair realizes the gravity of the situation. Hearing his name called, Bai Yi turns to see the two players finally approaching. Misty Rain mocks the high stakes of the Myriad Worlds game while eyeing their target. Recognizing him instantly, she rushes forward to bridge the distance between them. Onlookers scramble to flee the plaza, desperate to avoid the impending carnage. Feigning emotional reunion, Misty Rain approaches while Bai Yi keeps his guard up. Rising Sun joins the conversation, claiming they have spent ages searching for him. Bai Yi calls out the man's past treachery, specifically referencing a previous betrayal involving oxygen. Terror grips Rising Sun as the realization of his exposed secret hits home. Dark shadows surge from the ground to envelop him before he can offer an excuse. Bai Yi orders his summoned legion to execute the traitor for his past disloyalty. Screams echo through the plaza as the skeletal soldiers shred the defenseless rising sun, pleading for his life. The panicked player begs for a chance to explain the misunderstanding. Bai Yi looms over the wreckage, his eyes burning with a promise of absolute extinction slashing through the air. He finishes the execution with a single brutal strike. System notifications confirm Rising Sun is dead, so Bai Yi turns his cold focus toward Ruyan, realizing her cover is failing. Ruyan stammers in panic while wondering how much Bai Yi actually knows. City Guard members arrive to investigate the disturbance, forcing the local power players to pivot. A massive energy barrier erupts, shielding the ongoing confrontation from the prying eyes of the city authorities. Bai Yi dismisses the guards with a calm promise to handle his own business. Apologizing for the mess, he assures the visitor that his primary target is already within reach. Magical seals flare across the ground as Bai Yi channels his dark, lingering power. Grabbing Ruyan by the arm, he commands her to follow him straight to the Resurrection Hall. High above, a winged scout monitors their movement, signaling the next stage of the operation. The armored guard pledges his full support as Bai Yi marches his captive toward the final destination. Inside the hall, Zhao Su undergoes a painful resurrection process that shaves a decade off his remaining lifespan. Ruyan rushes after Bai Yi, desperately trying to weave a story to save her own neck. Zhao Su collapses in front of the others, still reeling from the agony of being brought back from the dead. Spinning a web of lies, Ruyan points the finger at the weakened Zhao Su to shift the blame. Bai Yi sees through the manipulation and, disgusted by her betrayal, signals his shadows to end her, pleading for mercy. Ruyan cowers as the dark energy begins to tear through her defenses. Zhao Su watches in horror as his associate meets a swift and brutal demise. Falling to his knees, Zhao Su begs for forgiveness and swears he was forced into his past actions. Listening to the desperate plea, Bai Yi remains unmoved and utterly unimpressed by the display. Shadows rise up to crush Zhao Su, finalizing the debt payment with his life as the ultimate price. 30 minutes pass after the execution, leaving the bodies of the traitors cooling on the floor. These backstabbers finally paid the ultimate price for their repeated schemes. Resurrection sparks return life to the fallen, but the cycle of agony is far from over. Staring down at the pathetic display, Bai Yi mocks the irony of their desperate situation. A swift kick sends the venomous woman flying as Bai Yi refuses to dirty his hands further, walking away from the carnage. He finds a moment of relief now that his revenge is complete. The armored guards confirm the cleanup is finished before they finally clear the hall, breathing in the fresh air. Bai Yi shifts his focus toward upgrading his gear for the next stage. Teleporting across 10 major cities, he gathers resources and gold to fuel his growing ambitions. A sudden system notification pings with a message from a potential new connection. Arriving at a grand estate, he prepares to meet the individual looking for a lucrative deal inside a lavish dining room. The merchant waits to propose a high-stakes business partnership. She openly admits her combat power is lacking and wants to leverage his strength for protection. Rejecting a full partnership, Bai Yi counters with a proposal to hire her as his exclusive agent, pulling out a rare resource. He demonstrates the potential of his unique talent. The merchant watches in disbelief as he showcases the power to upgrade items instantly. Explaining the value of his ability, he offers her a chance to climb the ranks together. Realizing the rarity of his skill, she agrees to manage his profits in exchange for a cut. The negotiations turn serious when she offers 10 million gold coins to secure a class change. A binding soul contract is proposed, limiting her take to 5% of the future wealth. The system identifies the merchant as richest under heaven, revealing her rare god of wealth talent. Bai Yi observes the data, noting that even with her skills, building such massive wealth would take ages alone. After she confirms her resolve, the two seal their partnership with a formal, binding contract. System message flashes to confirm the soul bond, granting her full authority over his commercial operations. Handing over 10 million gold, Bai Yi instructs her to prioritize her own class advancement immediately. Light erupts as she successfully undergoes the transformation, officially leveling up her status. Inquiring about her new abilities, he learns that her evolution only unlocked 2 specific skills. One provides a durable shield that scales with her gold, while the other is a unique artifact. That second skill, an offhand item, offers powerful stat boosts but demands a massive mana cost. Acknowledging its rarity, Bai Yi recognizes the item as a sacred relic of immense power. Turning their attention to the money tree, they find it has flourished into a massive source of resources. Hundreds of soul coins and a rare life spirit stone materialize as the tree fully matures, urging him to demonstrate his talent. She hands over the crystal for him to upgrade. Channeling his power into the shard, he initiates the ascension process on the rare material. The upgraded life spirit stone now grants an extra 100 years of lifespan, a staggering reveal that leaves her breathless. A global announcement marks the end of the beginner protection period, shaking up the entire leaderboard. Handing her a VIP auction card, Bai Yi entrusts her with managing his real estate assets. She heads off to the auction house while he prepares to tackle his next objective. Reaching the remote Yinchuan waterfall, he seeks out the NPC waiting by the water to submit his quest. The contact greets him with surprise, clearly not expecting him to arrive at the destination so quickly. The NPC painter shows off his latest work, asking Bai Yi for an honest critique of the landscape. Playing along with the ego trip, Bai Yi calls it a masterpiece, triggering a burst of maniacal laughter from the man. Shifting gears to business, the painter notices Bai Yi's status as a Book of Death user and inquires if he finished the quest. Handing over 10,000 gold coins, the NPC rewards his swift completion with a massive payout, promising to keep the coin flowing in future exchanges. The painter seals their profitable partnership, crackling with raw energy. The man pulls a glowing essence of sword spirit from the air, sending the swirling green orb toward Bai Yi. He rewards the player with the temporary skill Shadow Chase Sword Chi, reading the system notification. Bai Yi discovers the skill grants legendary combat power for 60 seconds. Noticing the gravity of the power he just received, Bai Yi immediately pivots to his next objective, presenting a formal request to cross the national borders. He asks the painter for safe passage, confirming the destination. The NPC conjures a massive green portal that rips through the sky, stepping into the rift. They prepare to depart for the Tianqi Kingdom. Back at the main hub, players watch the sky tier open, speculating that Bai Yi is once again shaking the foundations of the world. Cutting off the gossip, a female leader demands her subordinates focus on their own grind to reach the top. Crossing the threshold, Bai Yi and his guide arrive in the territory of the Tianqi Kingdom. Taking in the sights, Bai Yi marvels at the landscape. Though his guide dismisses his wonder as amateurish, system alerts flood his vision, marking him as the first player to cross the border and triggering a hostile status as an infiltrator, realizing the danger of his new classification. Bai Yi watches as the NPC guide vanishes without another word. Stuck with the infiltrator debuff, he decides to avoid the main city and stick to the outskirts to stay hidden, ducking into the cover of a nearby forest. He scouts his surroundings to plan his next move. Level 995 Dark Feathered Demon Vulture dives down at Bai Yi, slamming into the earth with enough force to shatter the ground beneath his feet. He wastes no time and summons the Frost Dragon to counter the aerial assault. The dragon lunges upward as energy crackles along its frame. Purple energy beams erupt from the vulture, clashing directly with the dragon's own freezing breath. A massive explosion of light engulfs the sky as the two powers collide. The beast lets out a piercing shriek from within the smoke, showing no hesitation. Bai Yi commands his dragon to push the advantage. Teeth and talons lock in a mid-air frenzy of combat. More beams rain down from above while the dragon weaves through the barrage. Dodging the deadly lasers, the dragon closes the distance for a final strike. Realizing the creature is trying to retreat, Bai Yi activates his upgraded Death Leap. The vulture attempts to flee the battlefield, gathering mana in his palm. He prepares to finish the fight. A portal tears open, allowing his undead minions to intercept the fleeing monster, slashing through the air. The Frost Dragon delivers a critical blow to the demon, bringing the carcass down. Bai Yi watches the beast fall. Meanwhile, near the outskirts of Liang City, members of the Tiandi Guild track his movements, boasting about their strength. They vow to teach the infiltrator a lesson. Sensing the approaching group, Bai Yi grins and decides to introduce them to his little brothers. The Tiandi Guild scouts realize their target is not just one man but a squad of elite bosses. Lightning crackles across the field as the skeletal warriors unleash a devastating strike. Bodies scatter instantly under the assault, forcing the survivors to flee in pure terror. Back at headquarters, the guild leaders demand answers about the mysterious White Knight and his army of skeletons. Hearing that the summoner possesses S-rank talent and one-shot capabilities, the elder orders a coordinated group attack. Greedy for the bounty and the kill, the subordinates scramble to mobilize every nearby player. Bai Yi watches from the shadows, mocking the restrictions that kept him waiting outside the city walls. Taunting the approaching guild members, his undead guards form a wall of blades to meet the incoming charge. Chaos erupts among the onlookers as they witness the sheer speed of the slaughter unfolding. A system notification confirms Bai Yi has claimed a victim, boosting his experience points. Gesturing with a cold smirk, he unleashes his undead minions to toy with the remaining guild squad. Cold steel meets flesh as the warriors descend, leaving no room for the guild members to fight back. Desperate to survive, the Tiandi Guild members launch a combined assault against the encroaching skeletal horde. Blades shatter upon contact, proving the massive strength gap between the guild fodder and the summoned bosses. Screams fill the air as the undead systematically eliminate the disorganized frontline. Realization dawns on the surviving scouts that their pride was misplaced. Weapons clang uselessly against the reinforced armor of the skeletons, leaving the attackers helpless. Bai Yi scoffs at the incompetence of his enemies while waiting for the inevitable massacre to conclude. Panic shifts to relief when the players spot the city guards rushing toward the battlefield. Cavalry units arrive to intercept the invaders, setting the stage for a three-way clash at the city gates. Bai Yi stares down the incoming cavalry, his curiosity piquing as he prepares for a real test. The city guards thunder across the field, their charge intent on trampling his skeletal frontline. A massive blade of light cleaves through the air, obliterating his minions with terrifying ease. Watching his undead get wiped out so quickly, Bai Yi realizes he severely underestimated these native powerhouses. Spotting the invader, the lead knight marks him for death while Bai Yi senses he has been compromised. A single death gaze erupts from the knight, dealing massive damage that makes Bai Yi realize he is vastly outmatched, knowing he cannot survive a sustained assault. He decides to cut his losses and retreat from the immediate danger. The knight reaches the spot where Bai Yi stood, only to find the area completely abandoned. Suddenly reappearing in the ruins of the city, Bai Yi surveys the aftermath of his earlier slaughter. He summons his legendary dark feathered demon vulture, needing a quick escape before the guards close in. Landing amidst the wreckage, he wonders why the elite guards are hunting him with such intensity. A beam of concentrated energy tears through the ground where he just dodged. Water and debris spray into the air as the strike narrowly misses his position. The massive vulture shrieks, its presence drawing the attention of the aerial pursuit team. Noticing the demon vulture, the guards identify the threat and coordinate a full-scale assault. Bai Yi smiles as he realizes he can use their aggression to his advantage by leading them into a trap. Archers on horseback scramble for cover as the demonic bird dominates the sky. The captain of the guard struggles to keep his formation steady while tracking the elusive invader, planning to use the chaos to his benefit. Bai prepares to unseal a hidden treasure while the guards are occupied. Battle lines tighten as the guards converge on his location, oblivious to the trap he is currently setting. Bai channels energy to force an evolution. The dark feathered demon vulture surges with power, officially breaking through to legendary grade. Guards on the ground scramble in terror, realizing they are completely outclassed by this new threat. Shadowy projections manifest from the beast, casting an overwhelming darkness over the battlefield. Panicked orders ring out for a full retreat. As the soldiers know they cannot survive this encounter, violent shockwaves ripple through the air, signaling the absolute dominance of the evolved vulture. Desperate cries for rescue echo across the lines, but the guards are already caught in the chaos. Bai Yi watches his trap spring perfectly, satisfied with the pandemonium he has unleashed. A confused captain screams for his identity, completely unable to comprehend the scale of this invasion. Ignoring the wreckage behind him, Bai Yi consults his map to locate the Shifeng Mountain treasure. Finding the area suspiciously unguarded, he prepares to claim the loot while his enemies remain distracted. His foot strikes the ground near the hidden cache, marking the discovery of a dark-grade treasure chest. Walking up to the prize, he finds the chest unlocked and ready for the taking. Energy flares as he initiates the promotion. Hoping for an easy haul, the system suddenly flags the chest as epic grade and demands 36 space crystals for access. Frustrated by the unexpected lock, Bai Yi checks the market to see if the required crystals are available. Deciding that discretion is the better part of valor, he moves to secure the goods and retreat. Contacting his subordinates, he confirms they can source the crystals from the wealthy auction house. The requested material arrives, revealing that space crystals are essential for powering high-level teleportation arrays. With the crystals finally in his possession, Bai Yi instructs his team to monitor for future trade opportunities. Bai Yi spends the crystals to force the chest open, and he claims the Ring of Luck, though its full attributes remain locked for now. Global alerts ring out confirming his bird has hit legendary status, and a bounty is placed on his head. While the trapped players of Jingli City realize their leveling path is blocked by his presence, moving deep into the Blackbone Valley, Bai Yi seeks a safe spot for his next evolution. He prepares to use the second death scripture to force a breakthrough. A lethal class advancement quest triggers that requires him to maintain a near-death state. He tests his limits by baiting a massive strike from the Frost Dragon. The near-death condition is met and the quest completes instantly. His status upgrades to Tier 2 Professional, granting him massive attribute bonuses and new skills. He immediately promotes his S-rank Death Contract skill, and his Death Conscription evolves into the powerful passive skill Death Edict. The Frost Dragon recovers and stares him down while he contemplates his next level up. System prompt confirms the mount has finally entered its infant stage. Feeling the surge of his new power, Bai Yi prepares to unleash his legion. He sets his sights on the feathered bird, intending to dominate the battlefield with his undead. Observing the chaotic city layout, he notes that the area is practically isolating itself. He spots the regrouping players and senses they are brewing some kind of scheme, signaling his dragon to descend. He decides it is time to sow some real chaos. And the city guards brace themselves for the inevitable return of the White Knight. The players are scrambling to organize a party to hunt down Bai Yi, but their confidence vanishes the moment his Frost Dragon descends upon them. Panic erupts through the ranks as the creature tears through their line, forcing them to retreat all the way back to the Black Mist Valley, where Bai Yi decides to field test his new Heaven Annihilation Legion. Dismissing his Frost Dragon to let it roam and hunt independently, he scans the area and realizes the local mobs are too weak for his needs. A black wind wolf leaps from the shadows to challenge him. Despite it being a low-level zone, he prepares to put his summons to the test. The skeletons tear into the wolf with massive damage output. Unimpressed by the ease of the slaughter, he decides to escalate the fight, calling upon his headless knight to join the fray. The spirit charges forward on command to finish the beast, executing a swift strike that cleaves through the wolf's defenses, leaving Bai Yi momentarily surprised by the sheer ferocity of his own summon. Loot drops from the vanquished leader as a system notification confirms the kill. Suddenly, a strange energy ripples through his gathered undead army, triggering a massive evolution as his minions rise into skeleton kings, their power scaling exponentially to match his own growth as a commander. And with his elite squad fully transformed, Bai Yi finally has his legion. Bai Yi realizes his death conscription skill has leveled up, prompting him to organize his new squads. Feeling invincible, he vows to sweep across the land with his newfound power, commanding his forces to charge. He watches them wipe out every remaining monster. A series of system notifications flood in, confirming massive experience gains and a level up to 31. Just as the dust settles, a mysterious portal emerges out of thin air. Revealing a hidden dungeon, Bai Yi decides to test his strength against the myriad poison snake cave. Walking through the swirling energy, he steps inside to begin the challenge, ordering his headless knight to clear the path. He prepares for a quick victory. Meanwhile, the authorities of Xiaoshan City are incensed that an intruder dares to target their territory. Lord Matsumoto orders his elite guards to arrest this white knight and bring him to justice. Fueled by the promise of a king's reward, the samurai vows to capture the invader himself. His underlings cheer on his display of resolve, fully confident in their leader's capability. High above the city, the frost dragon descends to rain down destruction, mocking the arrogant guards. The beast prepares to tear through their flimsy defenses. Arrows fly as the city defenders attempt to focus fire on the massive wyvern, live broadcasting the carnage. The guards trigger an rank projection talent to stream the battle. Flames erupt across the sky while the dragon freezes the frontline soldiers in their tracks. Notification pings alert Bai Yi that his mount is under attack. Sensing the audacity of these city guards, he decides it is time to finish his dungeon run. And with a smirk, he prepares to unleash his full fury upon the fools who dared to strike his pet. The samurai captain slams his spear down to demand White Knight's immediate surrender, counting down from 3 while expecting the invader to tremble in his boots, but his confidence shatters the moment he realizes his opponent has arrived, as the frost dragon descends with a legion of spectral undead warriors in tow. Onlookers watching the broadcast panic at the sight of high-level monsters flooding the city, realizing too late that they have provoked something far beyond their control. Bai Yi mocks their arrogance and gleefully offers up his minions for a deadly game. While the frost dragon drops into the city square to confront the samurai directly, the undead mounts charge forward with chilling speed to initiate their assault. Triggered by the system, the death charge skill surges through the skeletal cavalry. City defenders desperately urge their avian mounts to counter the incoming skeletal wave. Bai Yi observes their futile struggle and considers the carnage a personal gift, draining death energy to empower his soldiers. He lands a devastating heavy strike. The samurai struggles to comprehend how a mere level 30 could block his power. But the damage counter proves his defense is utterly insufficient against such force. An undead soldier sweeps through the sky to eliminate the aerial vanguard. Terror grips the remaining defenders as they witness the efficiency of the slaughter. Eyes widen at the precision of the incoming final blow. A fatal snipe pierces the lead guard, dealing massive damage and ending his resistance, leaving the remaining defenders to beg for mercy as their entire formation collapses. The guard captain lunges at Bai Yi with a desperate final roar, but his strike deals a pathetic 461 damage to the summoner. Onlookers watch in horror as their captain fails and the city formation begins to fracture. Bai Yi activates a death contract that distributes incoming damage across his entire legion, leaving the captain to scream in agony as his offense is rendered completely useless. A surge of blue spectral energy erupts from the undead army to reclaim the momentum. Lord Matsumoto orders the city defense array to activate while his forces scatter in panic. Watching from the sidelines, Bai Yi taunts the defenders by challenging their endurance. Desperate guards broadcast urgent requests for reinforcements from the royal capital. Inside the secret society headquarters, the atmosphere shifts as a mystery figure makes his move. Qi Yaezong confronts his visitor, demanding to know the true purpose of this intrusion. The mysterious intruder dismisses the question with a smirk. Keeping his motives hidden, a sudden high-speed projectile forces Qi Yaezong to dodge, breaking the tension of their meeting. Coins rain down as the intruder unleashes a rapid attack, leaving the society members scrambling. The guards realize their president is under fire and scramble to respond to the threat. Qi Yaezong demands to know the identity of the assailant disrupting their private affairs. The intruder responds by launching a brutal strike that sends Qi Yaezong flying backward. Energy blades spiral into the ground as the intruder traps the leadership in a lethal perimeter. Back on the front lines, Bai Yi decides it is finally time to finish this massacre, and he summons an epic tier boss from the Death Codex to crush Lord Matsumoto for good. The epic tier azure-sealed snake bursts onto the battlefield, forcing Bai Yi to take immediate action, signaling his skeleton army to engage the massive reptilian boss, which shrugs off their initial strikes with its thick armored hide, prompting Bai Yi to taunt the creature as he tests his legion's true power. While his undead warriors swarm the snake with relentless coordinated strikes, observing that physical attacks are failing, Bai Yi shifts tactics toward pure magic. Ordering his mages to bombard the boss with a barrage of icy projectiles, which connect with the snake's head as it thrashes against the magical onslaught, eventually breaking through its defense and forcing the beast to its knees, until Bai Yi delivers the final blow to secure his victory, triggering a flood of system notifications announcing his level up in the dungeon's first clear reward, and he turns his back on the carcass to continue his advance. While across the kingdom, the public is losing their minds over the real-time server announcements, questioning how an invader could possibly clear a high-level dungeon so quickly, as the server-wide message reveals the azure-sealed snake has officially fallen to the invader, signaling the arrival of a new high-level threat at the heart of the royal capital, where the intruder descends from the sky to hover above the city's spires. Drawing the immediate attention of the local authorities who demand his business there, and the figure just smiles, clearly enjoying the chaos he is about to unleash, before launching a devastating strike that sends the city guards into a full-blown panic. The royal guards realize their treasury is completely empty, while a server-wide announcement confirms the robbery and slaps a massive XP penalty on all players. Bai Yi is already deep underground and thrilled with his massive haul of legendary scrolls, where his death scripture suddenly lights up and pings with new class set information, causing a surge of magical energy to erupt from the book as it scans the surrounding area, revealing a vision of the distant Holy Sanctuary Empire, a force on par with the Divine Dragon Hall, and Bai Yi decides this rival power requires careful planning before he makes any aggressive moves. So he teleports back to the safety of East Sea City to regroup, where his subordinates greet him and note how quickly news of his victory over the Empress Palace traveled. Plus, they settle on naming their new commercial faction Myriad Worlds, and the group officially accepts an invitation to join the Myriad Worlds Chamber of Commerce, which instantly registers Bai Yi as the new guild master within the system. So he rallies his team to head straight for the auction house to scout out high-end goods, while the city leaderboard displays his relatively low ranking in gold despite his massive soul coin gains. But the system broadcasts the new chamber's insane benefits, offering members a steady salary and low commissions, triggering a frenzy among the local players who cannot believe such a lucrative deal exists, and crowds immediately start rushing to sign up for the new faction. Which leads to a massive, chaotic queue forming at the registration desk, as Bai Yi observes the growing number of recruits and plans to expand his operations to other cities, because he intends to sweep the auction houses across the entire Divine Dragon Empire within just 1 month. A subordinate receives orders to track down White Knight, while the Ghost Hand Assassin vows to eliminate the target, and the system reveals the lethal mechanics behind the assassin's divine concealment skill. Meanwhile, at the Lord's mansion, Bai Yi discusses his plans to reach the Holy Sanctuary Empire, explaining to City Lord Sidhu that he has specific goals awaiting him there, so he brushes off concerns regarding the difficulty of the region, but City Lord Sidhu insists he must first pass the Divine Dragon Academy's assessment, and Bai Yi confidently accepts the challenge to take it immediately, so the City Lord uses his staff to open a portal for the test. Warning that the young man must navigate the trial on his own, then Bai Yi steps through the shimmering entrance into the unknown, where the system alerts him that he has arrived in the consonant's wilderness, and he initially mistakes the surroundings for a peaceful meadow, until a pack of rhinos suddenly charges directly at him, forcing him to deflect their assault before realizing the threat was minimal. But the environment immediately shifts as flames erupt across the plains. And the massive level 110 Flame Lion Emperor emerges as the true boss of the trial, so Bai Yi calls out his own undead army to engage the beast, while his skeleton kings prepare to clash with the fiery monstrosity, and the two forces collide in a devastating exchange of power. Bai Yi realizes the Flame Lion Emperor is far more durable than expected, so he commands his undead archers to focus their fire on the beast, and the barrage of energy strikes the creature with explosive force. But the Flame Lion Emperor emerges from the smoke completely unharmed, then it retaliates with a massive torrent of fire that forces the skeletons to retreat, which makes Bai Yi decide he needs to unleash a more powerful technique. So he channels his frost energy to summon a high-level ice entity, and the frost beast strikes the lion with a freezing beam that pierces its flames, dealing significant damage as the fire starts to succumb to the intense cold. So Bai Yi smirks, finally feeling like he has the upper hand, but the beast shatters the ice and roars in defiance, entering a frenzied state that makes its aura even more dangerous, and Bai Yi orders his skeleton king to charge into the fray immediately. Then the lion fires a concentrated blast of heat at the incoming attacker, which the skeleton king counters with a lethal strike that cuts deep into the beast. So Bai Yi pushes his archers to maintain the relentless pressure. And the sustained assault finally drains the lion's remaining health, causing the Flame Lion Emperor to collapse as its flames flicker out for good. Then the system rewards Bai Yi with rare loot and a lucky blessing, and he observes that the trial has surely confirmed his hidden class awakening. A mysterious guide appears to officially welcome Bai Yi, confirming he has passed the Shenlong Academy exam as student number 1709. And Bai Yi realizes the test was surprisingly easy while eyeing the academy's reputation, so the duo travels toward the massive, majestic campus to begin registration, where a student named Kwangsu Chenchen approaches to scout out his new classmate, and upon learning Bai Yi is a necromancer, Kwangsu boasts of his own blood sacrifice priest hidden class. Then Kwangsu admits he lacks a hidden talent but worked hard to earn his spot. Leading them to the dorms, which Bai Yi discovers are split by rank, because the prestigious facilities are strictly reserved for elite students, while new arrivals must settle for the standard, lackluster housing instead, and a guide points out the ordinary dorms, explaining the harsh reality of their current standing, when a group of arrogant upperclassmen mocks them for being ordinary, specifically targeting them with insults while flaunting their own higher-level mage and venomancer classes. So Kwangsu tries to charge them, but Bai Yi holds him back to avoid an immediate expulsion for fighting, and the bullies continue to laugh, goading them to accept a formal challenge in the arena. Then Bai Yi pulls Kwangsu away, vowing to deal with these idiots later, deciding it is best to keep his true strength hidden while settling into the academy, as the guide hands them their room keys and tells them to rest up, before instructing all new students to gather at Shenlong Square in 1 hour. While elsewhere, word spreads among the elite that Bai Yi has officially enrolled. Bai Yi keeps his crew focused on growing the Myriad Worlds Chamber of Commerce, while the student body buzzes with wild rumors about the principal's true identity, but Bai Yi remains indifferent to the gossip until he actually spots the man himself, who takes the stage to address the new class with a sharp, no-nonsense introduction. And the principal declares that only the strong deserve a place at this elite institution, warning everyone that the academy is actually a brutal landscape of constant, ruthless competition, where a bottom elimination system ensures that only those who keep evolving can stay enrolled. Then he summons the 4 legendary department mentors through shimmering, high-level elemental portals, and the students watch in awe as these powerful figures reveal their distinct specialties. Starting with Haystone, the veteran mentor overseeing the nature department's growth, followed by the battle-hardened Bai Hu, who commands the strength department with raw power, while Lelouch steps forward to represent the intricate arts of the magic department. And finally, Amanda appears as the enigmatic mentor of the feared death department, so the crowd erupts in frantic debates over which path leads to the greatest prestige. But Kwangsu glances at Bai Yi, clearly concerned about his friend's choice of discipline, especially since word is out that Amanda enjoys using a whip to discipline her students. And while some might find that terrifying, Bai Yi just brushes off the rumors with a smirk, so the group moves toward the dark portal, following Amanda's command to take the first step. Then she suddenly calls out to Bai Yi, stopping him right before he vanishes into the void. Because she senses a strange, dark aura on him and demands to know his true class. Bai Yi shrugs off the question by claiming he's just a regular necromancer, but Amanda is not buying it, noting that a regular student should not carry that kind of death aura. And the next day she begins their training, cutting straight to the point with a lecture on summons, summoning a hellfire demon to show the class that their power is tied directly to the caster. While she warns them that even the lowest grade summons require immense focus and control, and the class watches the demon burn, realizing this department is far more intense than they expected. So Bai Yi interrupts to ask about the rumored relics everyone keeps whispering about, which Amanda admits she knew they were dying to ask, but she shuts down the idea of entering one, explaining that relics are strictly off-limits for now. Because these domains are far more dangerous and complex than any standard dungeon, and Bai Yi learns that each relic is a one-time event that vanishes once cleared. So the scale of these challenges is exponentially larger than anything they have faced, since the ultimate goal inside is to claim a hidden divine artifact, which sparks immediate excitement among the students, eager to see one for themselves, and despite the risks, they beg Amanda to at least show them the entrance. So she decides to indulge their curiosity and give them a taste of true death energy, leading the group into a swirling vortex of power, where Bai Yi notes that the academy continues to exceed his wildest expectations, and the group is consumed by the chaotic energy as they step through the portal, arriving before a massive, chilling gate that marks the true entrance to the relic. Instructor Amanda clarifies that they are just looking at a beginner-level relic gate. So the students press her for details on exactly when these things actually open, but she warns that the timing is completely random and the window is tiny, leaving Bai Yi to process the inherent danger of such an unpredictable anomaly, when suddenly the ground beneath their feet begins to violently shift and crack, and Amanda realizes the relic has unexpectedly activated right in front of them, screaming for the group to retreat before the black fog claims them all. But the suction is already too intense as students are dragged toward the gate, forcing Amanda to watch in horror as the relic swallows the entire death department. So she turns to alert the dean about the catastrophic failure of the training, while inside the gate, Bai Yi finds himself unexpectedly pulled into the abyss. And back at the academy, the sudden activation sends a shockwave through the halls, where the staff realizes the entire incoming class has been sucked into the rift. So the leadership acknowledges that even a beginner relic will be a nightmare for them, ordering an immediate rescue team to mobilize and extract the students at any cost. Meanwhile, Bai Yi recovers his footing inside the strange, silent stone labyrinth, realizing that he and his classmates have been completely scattered across the zone, which prompts him to summon his undead minions to scout the immediate perimeter. But he notes the bizarre lack of monsters in such a massive, imposing space. When a sudden, glowing blade strike forces him to abandon his guard, the ambush forces Bai Yi to scramble backward, revealing a high-level dark pincer worm towering over him, and Bai Yi immediately recognizes the elite monster is way out of his league. So he summons his skeletal legion to create some breathing room, demanding more power as he pumps his own energy into the minions, while the skeletons clash head-on with the armored beast. But Bai Yi notices his strike barely scratches the creature's tough hide, leading him to order his mage units to blast it with fireballs. Yet the flames burst uselessly against the worm's shell, and Bai Yi realizes the standard elemental weaknesses are not applying here, while the monster shrugs off the magical assault like it is nothing, leaving him to wonder just how durable this elite creature really is. So he activates his analytical skills to probe for any hidden vulnerabilities, pinpointing a critical weak spot hidden along the monster's abdomen, which prompts him to command his archers to focus their fire right there. And the volley punches through the armor, leaving the worm exposed, but the damage triggers a lethal berserk state that spikes the enemy's strength. So Bai Yi drops all caution and calls for his heaviest hitter, while the Skeleton King manifests in a storm of spectral energy and charges forward to deliver a crushing blow to the enraged worm. The Skeleton King slams his massive strike into the monster, and the dark pincer worm collapses under the sheer force of the impact, with the system confirming the elite kill and granting a mysterious ruin fragment. So Bai Yi pockets the loot while wondering why Amanda kept this item secret, after he discovers a glowing, high-tier siege domain greatsword embedded in the ruins, noticing the blade offers massive strength buffs that he can easily flip for profit, which encourages him to push his undead army deeper into the dangerous dungeon, spotting another hostile bug skittering through the shadows of the ancient structure. So he signals the Skeleton King to launch an immediate, overwhelming assault, and the undead forces cut through the enemy ranks with ruthless, efficient precision, as the system drops another ruin fragment into his hand after the quick slaughter, until he catches sight of distant figures moving across the barren ruin floor. Wondering if other intruders managed to bypass the dungeon's initial defenses, and he observes terrified survivors fleeing from a swarm of high-level monsters, who are clearly no match for the elites patrolling this cursed death trap, with the panicked group screaming for their lives as the creatures close in, while Bai Yi calmly walks forward to confront the colossal insectoid threat, ordering his summon to execute the finishing blow on the rampaging beast. And the Grim Reaper mount descends to cleave the final monster in two, leaving the survivors stunned as they realize they've been saved by a summoner. The survivors spot another wave of monsters closing in on their position, and they scramble to escape while the situation rapidly spirals out of control. But Bai steps in, unleashing a torrent of flame that incinerates the path, while his summoned skeleton mages materialize to intercept the remaining hostiles. Leaving the baffled students to wonder if this powerhouse is actually from their academy, yet they ultimately decide the dungeon is too lethal and bolt for the exit. Meanwhile, City Lord Sidhu receives word that the ruin accident was a deliberate setup, and his aide confirms the Hisha organization orchestrated the entire disaster from the shadows, causing City Lord Sidhu to erupt in fury over these persistent traitors to humanity. So he orders the immediate mobilization of an elite rescue team to save the students. While deep in the swamp, Bai navigates the dense, oversized flora alone, noting how the environment itself feels unnaturally distorted and hostile to intruders, when a sudden disturbance ripples through the murky water near his feet, revealing a swamp worm that the system identifies as a low-level target. So Bai calls forth a barrage of fire to handle the pest. And the ensuing explosion obliterates the creature before it can even react, earning him both experience points and a rare ruin fragment for his efforts, though he quickly realizes these weaklings are just bait to lure out something larger, at which point a mysterious death swordsman named Black Robe emerges from the brush, and Bai immediately demands to know how an outsider bypassed the dungeon's security. Black Robe scoffs at the dungeon's security, claiming there are plenty of secret entrances. Bai retorts that he did not come here for mindless monster hunting, and Black Robe confirms that if he is a Shenlong student his mission is clear, then lunges forward with a lethal slash aimed directly at Bai Yi, but a dark projectile slices through the air, intercepting the attack instantly, and the force of the clash sends shockwaves rippling across the swamp. So Bai Yi realizes his summon just got taken out by a single strike, prompting Black Robe to mock him for relying on necromancy, while Bai Yi quickly orders his remaining guards into a defensive formation and questions why they have to fight when there is no personal grudge. But Black Robe counters that it does not matter if they are strangers, so he brushes off any association with the Hisha organization as irrelevant. Then launches a massive energy wave that forces Bai Yi to summon the Skeleton King, who stands firm to protect his master from the incoming onslaught, while Bai Yi accuses the enemy of being a traitorous human killer and warns him that there will be severe consequences for his arrogance. So Black Robe charges in again, comparing his own strength to crushing an ant, but the Skeleton King blocks the blade, leaving the swordsman in disbelief at the power. And Bai Yi watches as the combat intensifies, pushing his summon to the limit, until Black Robe reveals his true nature as a death swordsman with respawn abilities. The death swordsman drives his blade into Bai Yi, but Bai Yi remains unfazed by the strike, revealing that his life-sharing skill keeps him tethered to existence despite the wounds, which completely breaks the death swordsman's confidence, and Bai Yi immediately retaliates with a lethal death gaze to end the fight for good, and commands the Skeleton King to finish off the weakened target. So the summon executes the killing blow as Bai Yi gains experience and ruins from the wind. Back at the academy, news reaches the dean that someone from the Black Kill organization is dead, and the staff discusses how this mysterious ally might be the key to their situation, while the dean shifts his focus to the urgent rescue operation, as the female instructor confirms their team is fully prepped to move out. But the dean insists that he must personally help open the ruin entrance, despite the warnings that the strain will leave him physically drained and vulnerable. And with no other choice, the instructors depart to execute the plan, leaving the dean to worry about the students trapped inside the ruins. As the team arrives at the site and prepares to bridge the gap, the instructors call for the dean to activate the heavy teleportation array. And he pours his remaining strength into the ritual until the portal tears open. So the rescue squad dives headfirst into the rift to reach the students, while the massive energy flare stabilizes, marking the start of the high-stakes extraction. The instructors stabilize the portal while the dean promises to reopen the array in 4 hours, and Bai Yi pushes deeper into the ruins, encountering a swarm of hulking, blue-lit creatures. Noting how the previous swordsman had let slip a warning about a mother worm, when a massive, shadowy presence suddenly erupts from the darkness to ambush him, revealing the venomous mother worm with an elite-level stat spread that dwarfs everything else, which makes Bai Yi curse his own luck for calling out the boss right before it appears, as the creature unleashes a concentrated energy blast directly at him, forcing Bai Yi to nimbly dodge while his summoned undead rush to intercept. And he complains about the beast's raw power after its single roar disorients his minions, so he orders the Skeleton King to stand its ground and take the brunt of the assault, which leads to a brutal clash as the Skeleton King deflects the worm's massive mandibles. Then Bai Yi commands his remaining undead to execute a defensive formation to buy some time, and they coordinate a series of rapid strikes against the worm's thick armored hide, before realizing that keeping a low profile is impossible, so he calls out his next summon and Frost emerges to unleash a torrent of freezing energy directly at the boss, while Bai Yi watches on, determined to farm this massive threat for maximum experience. As the combined onslaught of ice and fire slams into the worm from every angle, then the boss is encased in a thick layer of ice that halts its momentum entirely. But the creature shatters the containment, proving that mere freezing will not be enough to put it down, so the venomous mother worm gathers its dark energy for an even more devastating counterattack. Bai Yi realizes the venomous mother worm possesses genuine intelligence and is hunting him personally, so he prepares a tactical retreat to gain some breathing room from the creature, while his loyal skeleton army swarms the rear to block the beast's path. And he triggers a massive explosion to punish the worm for its relentless pursuit, which engulfs the area in flames as his summons unleash their full combat potential. Then he watches the carnage unfold, confident that the boss cannot survive this level of focused damage. Yet the worm's defenses finally crumble under the weight of the assault, and a system notification confirms his level up along with the acquisition of rare ruin fragments. While a powerful new Staff of Death appears in his inventory, perfectly suited to his needs, so he decides to push his advantage by mutating and promoting the weapon immediately, and the system confirms a successful promotion into a formidable Necromancer Scepter, which grants him the ability to revive and contract with fallen monsters as summons, so he immediately applies this power to the defeated venomous mother worm. And the creature rises again, now bound to serve him as a powerful undead companion, which gives him a massive boost in combat strength compared to his standard skeleton army. But he realizes his new monsters are too large to keep hidden, so he dismisses them. Then he catches sight of a chaotic scene littered with the bodies of fallen soldiers, and he turns his attention toward the noise, sensing someone else approaching the ruins. While a group of survivors appears on the horizon, desperately fending off a fresh wave of scorpion beasts, so Bai Yi prepares to intervene, ready to handle whoever stands in his way next. Skeleton King charges into the fray at Bai Yi's command to protect the survivors, while the system highlights a high-level giant Scorpion King boss blocking their path, and the desperate group realizes help has finally arrived in the nick of time. As they recognize Bai Yi as the powerful undead summoner they encountered previously, so Bai Yi tells the survivors to retreat while he handles the poisonous monster. Then he directs his magic toward the beast to test its defenses, but the scorpion shrugs off the magical assault as if it were nothing, which forces Bai Yi to realize the monster is completely immune to his spells. So he decides to switch tactics and pull out his new trump card instead. And he summons the massive giant mother worm back onto the battlefield to crush it, while the survivors watch in absolute disbelief at the scale of his summon, because the undead creature looms over the area with terrifying, overwhelming presence. Then the mother worm lunges forward to decimate the giant Scorpion King in seconds, and the system confirms the kill, granting Bai Yi loot and a level up, so he starts salvaging the scraps while the survivors thank him for his intervention. As he questions why they would risk their lives coming into such a dangerous zone, where they reveal they were hunting a ruin artifact but everyone else in their party perished, and they beg Bai Yi to let them tag along for protection while they search for the item, but the surrounding area is still crawling with high-level scorpion beasts picking through the bones, so Bai Yi notes that most of them are boss-tier threats and the situation is escalating. The survivors spot Senior Yasuo arriving just in time to face the insect swarm, and he charges into the fray swinging a massive heavy hammer, slamming it into the ground with enough force to shake the entire battlefield. Then he orders the group to pull back with their wounded while he holds the line, launching himself straight at the dark beetle to deliver a lethal blow, which results in a massive shockwave that clears the immediate area of threats. While a mysterious observer watches from afar, plotting to snatch the artifact once Yasuo is spent, and this opportunist leaps onto the scene, offering help that sounds more like a trap, but Yasuo warns him to back off because the situation is far beyond his skill level, as a new wave of reinforcements arrives, called in by the dying beetle, forcing Yasuo to activate his hidden blood warrior ability to survive the onslaught. And the observer realizes he's witnessing a rare top-tier profession in action, so Yasuo continues to smash every bug in sight with unrelenting, raw intensity, while he sacrifices his own vitality to trigger massive explosions upon impact. Yet the observer notes that this technique will leave the senior bedridden for weeks to come, and meanwhile Bai Yi commands his undead minions to pick off the smaller fry, as the system confirms the elite beetle kill and awards Bai Yi a new ruin fragment, which leads to the insect numbers finally thinning out enough for the area to stabilize. But half an hour later, the aftermath of the intense combat leaves the ground littered with husks, so the observer notes that Yasuo is completely tapped out from his blood-burning technique. A woman steps into the ruins and calls out to the exhausted Yasuo, revealing herself as a member of the rival Black Kill organization with her squad in tow. And Yasuo recognizes the threat, demanding to know why they are scavenging in his territory, but the woman just laughs off his aggression while closing the distance between them, claiming she only wants the artifact and expects him to hand it over willingly since she knows his blood energy is spent and his student allies are no match for her, so she prepares to attack without any restraint, ordering her subordinates to storm the Bug King's nest and secure the prize, which prompts Yasuo's team to consider intercepting them despite the obvious danger, even as the Black Kill squad marches straight into the dark, infested tunnel, where the leader launches a sudden high-speed assault on the monsters inside, tearing through the defensive line with a display of overwhelming force, and the onlookers watch in horror as the sheer power of her strikes becomes apparent. Deep within the nest, the massive giant mother worm senses the incoming threat to her brood, pulsing with a dark energy as she whispers that her offspring will soon be born, while her remaining armored guardians scramble to intercept the intruders, only to be swatted aside by the relentless magical blades of the Black Kill scouts, so the mother beast cries out in a rage to protect her unborn child from the carnage, yet the Black Kill leader ignores the creature, barking orders to finish the job and seize the artifact. And she threatens to level the entire nest to the ground if the beast dares to interfere. The giant mother worm loses it, screaming that she will slaughter the intruders to feed her brood, and she commands her remaining forces to swarm the Black Kill squad immediately, while a high-level pincer bug guard emerges, its stats clearly dwarfing standard fodder, so the Black Kill leader orders her team to handle the minions while she engages the boss. Diving straight into a close-quarters clash with the mother beast, while her scouts mop up the remaining defenders in the background, but Bai Yi watches from the shadows unimpressed and ready to turn up the heat, and he signals his archers to target the eggs, creating a massive distraction as flaming projectiles rain down toward the nursery, detonating in a series of explosions that threat to destroy the unborn offspring, which sends the mother worm into a screeching frenzy of maternal rage, triggering a surge of dark energy that signals her transformation, for she rapidly evolves into a terrifying giant mother worm berserk, her stats hitting an impossible level 100, and she launches a devastating counterattack that sends the Black Kill Leader flying, as the now berserk monstrosity looms over the survivors with pure murderous intent, leaving the Black Kill Leader reeling from the sudden shift in power. Obayi finally reveals himself, taunting the squad about their pathetic performance, and he mocks their leader for wasting her stats while he makes his move for the Divine Tool, so the enraged Black Kill squad turns their weapons toward him, desperate to eliminate the new threat, but Bai Yi summons his undead legion to hold them back, effectively seizing control of the battlefield. The Black Kill squad members realize Bai Yi is no ordinary necromancer. So the squad leader closes the distance and lunges at him with lethal speed, determined to reclaim the Divine Tool before he can escape with it. But the nearby giant mother worm consumes her own kind to fuel a grotesque power boost, forcing the squad to shift their priority towards surviving this new evolved threat, which triggers an urgent retreat order because the monster has officially hit King Tyr, and she instantly shreds the ground where the squad leader was just standing, leaving the squad leader no choice but to engage the beast in a desperate fight, who charges headlong into the fray with her blade drawn for a suicidal strike. Then she plunges her dagger deep into the monster's armor, briefly pinning the creature down with sheer willpower and raw aggression. But the giant mother worm retaliates with a massive burst of energy that blows the squad leader away, leaving her vulnerable as smaller offspring swarm out to feed on the remaining survivors, which prompts Bai Yi to step back into the spotlight with a cold, calculated smile, and he commands his undead legion to launch a full-scale assault. So a barrage of projectiles rains down, turning the battlefield into a literal inferno, while the explosive impact of his forces slamming into the monster echoes across the nursery, and his undead minions bury their weapons into the beast to capitalize on the chaos, which gives Bai Yi the perfect opening to enjoy the carnage he has orchestrated, because he orders his army to press the advantage and finish off the broken monster. Bai Yi triggers his corpse explosion spell, tearing through the nursery with massive force. The giant mother worm bellows back in defiance, warning that something far deadlier is lurking nearby, and he seizes this chaotic opening to order his undead legions to deliver a decisive final blow. So the massive blast connects, shattering the remaining defenses of the weakened beast, while the sheer scale of the destruction has the surrounding scouts panicking over the fate of the Divine Tool, prompting Yasuo to order a full retreat before the unstable nest potentially detonates around them. Then the system confirms the giant mother worm's death, granting Bai Yi a level up and 10 precious ruin fragments.